Gasket right here for the intake manifold. Now there's another gasket right here, this thin metal one. Here, this is the new one right here. This is the old one. As you can see, this one's bubbled up a little bit, chipping. So we're gonna replace that. We're gonna throw the intake on and get everything all buttoned up. So we got the intake on, all bolted up. We got the spark plugs in, the coil packs on. We got most of the wiring hooked up to all the little sensors, alternator, all that. So we're gonna pull it off the engine stand now so we can work on getting the clutch and flywheel on, and then we're gonna stab the transmission on. Got the trans and the clutch and everything. My camera died when I was trying to film the clutch and the trans. I thought it was still going, but it didn't. So voila, it's on and it's done. So it's all buttoned up, and I gotta cut a piece on the car. So on E46s, the subframe, even with the rear sump, will smack a little bit in this area. So tomorrow I'm gonna cut it out, re-weld it all in, and then hopefully we can throw that in. So see you tomorrow. So the motor's in, trans is in. I didn't film it because it was tedious and I didn't want to focus on where the camera was the whole time, so stabbed it in. As you can see, the engine mount there, engine mount there. And then I actually made this trans mount. As you can see, it goes up into there, down into there. It's all bolted in, all in place. Shifter's in place. It's all bolted in now. So I'm gonna lower it down and I'll show you guys what it looks like. Now, as you can see, it fits in pretty good. Gotta get rid of these chains right there and there. And then we gotta feed this loom through the firewall. There's a hole down in here. And all this wiring right here, this is all for the automatic transmission. So I usually just tuck that into here, way out of the way, because not using that. Then we have to get this through, hook it up to ECU, and start plugging everything in. Okay, so we got everything mounted, wired up. The whole ECU is wired to this switch panel I made. There's the ECU, it's a bit of a mess. Switch panel. We're gonna go get some oil and then hopefully it should fire off. The trans, we got some 30 weight for like a break-in because it's conventional, and then we're gonna switch to synthetic, and some power steering fluid. I'm gonna put the power steering fluid in and the engine oil in, and we're gonna try to start it and see what happens. So we're gonna crank it over and see what happens.
What happened?
I didn't put the oil return line in. Whoops! There. For the turbo, was not bolted in. I forgot to bolt that in. It's in now. Otherwise, I didn't see any other leaks. So that's in now. We're gonna try to start it again and hopefully nothing leaks. In, trans is in, they're both bolted up, got the drive line in, all wired up, starts up. So now what I'm gonna start working on is getting the radiator on. So I cut the front frame supports that came out all the way for the bumper, because they literally came out to about like right here. They were pointless. It was just for the bumper. I'm gonna remount the bumper my own way anyways. So I chopped them evenly. I'm gonna put plates on them, and then I'm gonna run from those plates to mount. So I have the radiator here with the fan. I'm mocking up these, as you see, these little aluminum straps that I have. I bent this one up to hold that right there. I'm gonna bolt that in right there. And then I got this aluminum strap right here going across. Got it all marked, bolted right there. So I'm gonna drill these, and I'm gonna get the holes set for each bolt, and we're gonna weld them on and then get this fan mounted, and then we're gonna throw it on and see if we can mock it up on here. So we're gonna do that right now. All right, so we got the first one on. Now don't judge, I'm not the best TIG welder, but we got that side on right there. We got that side welded on right there. So that one side's on. We're gonna drill this first with the self-tapper that I'm gonna use, so I don't drill into this. And then we're gonna cut the end. So I'm gonna drill in with this self-tapper to make the hole. And then afterwards, I'm gonna cut right after the threads. So it's just a screw that goes in. So there's no sharp edges that can go towards the fins or anything. And then for this side, there's enough gap that I can drill it afterwards and not get anything in there because I'm gonna put a towel. So we're gonna weld on the other side, and then we'll start mocking up where we're gonna mount it. So we got the fan mounted. There's one bolt I was talking about right there, and the other self-tapper I talked about right there. So these are all welded on. It's ready to go. So now I'm working on the front bars right here. I put this one on so you guys can see what I'm gonna do. It's just 2 pieces of metal I welded together, traced it, cut it out, welded it on. So that's how it looks now. This is how it looked before. So I'm gonna sand this one down, get this one ready to look just like this. I just welded together. It looks a little uneven, but that's how it is traced on the car. So I put an A for closest to the alternator, so I knew which side it would be on. As you can see, it fits pretty good. So we're gonna tack this on, and then we're gonna weld it. That side's already welded, so we'll jack up the radiator afterwards and start mounting where we're gonna put that. We got this one welded up now. They're both welded up, sanded down nicely. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run a string line from this hole to this hole right here. So I know how high the hood's gonna be, so I know how high I can put my radiator. So I'm gonna run that string line, and we're gonna jack the radiator up, see where we can go, and then hopefully tack on some mounts and get it in place. Got the radiator mounted up now. These are the mounts. As you see in the time lapse, I'm making one of them because I had to make 4. It's one bend there, and then I put a support bar between, so when it's all tight, it's not going anywhere. So they're both identical. Same cuts. Fits perfect. Sturdy. Plenty of room. So I'm stoked. Ready to go for that. Now I'm gonna take my intercooler and mock it up in front of it and see if I can get that mounted up too. Alright, so we got the intercooler all mocked up now. And then we got the bottom drop down into there. Still mounted to there. Exact same on the other side. Mounted there, drops down over there. So now it's all mocked up. I'm gonna take both off, weld everything all nice and good, sand it down, give it some white paint so it matches, and then throw it all back on. Got it all welded in, sanded down, so as you can see how everything is now. I added this this bottom crossbar right here, just to make those bottom ones a little more rigid. all good. So I'm gonna wipe it down with some lacquer thin real quick and then put a quick coat of white on it, and then we'll throw everything back on. Okay, so last night got this all finished up, painted, got the radiator intercooler back in. As you can see, it's all painted, bolted in. I can move the whole car with it. It's sturdy. I'm happy with it. It looks good. So now I'm gonna start working on the intercooler piping, because that's gonna be the biggest pain. The radiator to plumb is really just hose lines. It's not very difficult. I need 2 90s and the slip piece that goes between the 90s and the bottom hose. That's it for the radiator. The intercooler, I have to cut all this old intercooler piping up, and then I gotta TIG weld it all into place. So we're gonna start chopping and getting this into place right now. 2.5 hours later, the whole intercooler piping is in. This side just kind of use clamps, kind of basic. This side I wanted to weld most of it. I had originally put the blow-off valve here, as you can see this plate, but hole was too big for the blow-off valve body, so I had to plate it, and then I moved it down over here. So it's working, got that line hooked up now. Got this hooked up here. So I'm gonna set it up, start it up for you guys. So that's gonna be it for this video. This video is probably very sporadic, weirdly filmed, because a lot of it was kind of stressful and just trying to figure it out. So I tried not to film too much because I didn't want to get my focus off. So that's gonna be it for this video. I'm gonna have another video coming next of just touching everything up, getting it going, and it'll probably be the first drive video too. So thanks again for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.